Welcome to where am I going? Welcome to February. It's still winter. It's still cold. Hence my blanketiness, but I can't be too blankety because I've got a mic right here. You know what makes me feel better when I'm cold? Curling up by the fire with a lover. That felt gross even just saying. You know the hear me out trend with the cakes? Show this.
What?
The number 8. It knows what it's doing.
It's that. It's the hear me out trend with the cakes and stuff. I don't have a cake here. I do have an ice cream, but it's not exactly one that I can like stick things into. So here's the cake. Here's my hear me out cake. Really? That's the best you could do? You could do better than that. Come on. I need a better cake. I need a better cake. Find me a better cake. No. I don't like the red ones. There we go. That's much better. Here's my hear me out cake. And as the title of this video has already told you, we're talking about Pokemon, because of course we are. Of course we are. But, I hear you saying, I've already discussed which Pokemon fall under the whole smash or pass. This one. Remember this video? If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We worked much harder on that one than we usually do. And I think it turned out really well and really funny. But, I've already smashed and or passed all of the eligible Pokemon. So, instead of that, we're going to do a hear me out, but for eating Pokemon. No, not like that, you fucking degenerates. We're heading on down to Munch Town. Population Pokemon. Which Pokemon would be good to eat? Which one would be tasty? But not which one are obviously tasty. There won't be any Tauros on here, no Miltanks, no Milceries, no any of the apple dragons. None of that shit. Obviously, that would be delicious. That's not what we're talking about. This unironically pisses me off very much when people do a hear me out cake in the traditional sense. They're like, my hear me out is Elsa from Frozen. That's not a hear me out. That's a conventionally attractive human woman. It doesn't matter if she's animated. That's not what hear me out is. Hear me out is for the xenomorphs in the number 7. Neither of those apply to me, but those are real answers that I've seen. And those people understood the assignment. So, without further ado, here are my hear me out edible Pokemon. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's start with a nice easy one. You're familiar with this guy. I'm not sure if that's actually the right type of pufferfish, but the fugu, the Japanese fugu fish. Highly toxic in a little part of it, and the rest of it's delicious. Takes a very well-trained chef to prepare it safely, but if you do, it's great. Similar concept, quillfish. Quillfish, poisonous blowfish, that seems easy, but fugu is a real thing that we eat. This still doesn't really count. So, my hear me out is overquill. I feel like this is just the fugu fish, but on hard mode. Imagine if the fugu fish was evil. Here we go. Now we get to play with the cake. This is what the cake is for, and the cake is not a lie. Shut up, Gladys.
You will be baked, and then there will be cake.
Now that we all understand what we're talking about, we can get into the real meat of the video. Meat, you say? Why, yes. Dugtrio. That's a sausage. That's 3 sausages. I'm convinced that that's just a sausage that learned how to dig. It escaped from this channel.
Like a sun-dried turd in a bun.
One of that guy's creations just managed to slip away in the night and became Dugtrio. I think after years of just breeding more and more Diglets and Dugtrios, we're back to just regular sausage. I think he would be quite tasty. You come down on a breakfast. It's a nice, calm Sunday morn, and your mom's cooking up a couple Diglets, a couple Dugtrios on the skillet, fresh for breakfast. You get a little cereal to go with it and some orange juice. Ah! Ha-ha! It's perfect. It's perfect. Moving on. This is the part where I put my editor on blast because they helped me come up with some of the takes for this video, and I don't think they're good. Unknown, the the letter guys, and occasionally the punctuation guys. Apparently, there is a theory by exactly one person here that those would taste specifically like the white airheads. Now, for those of you that don't remember, what do the white airheads taste like? The other airheads. The white airheads are the mystery flavor that just, it's undyed other airheads. And that's I'm gonna give you points for swinging for the fences with that one. I don't get it, but I mean, whatever makes you happy. Unless what makes you happy is soup that is too hot. Soup? That's a slug with a rock on it. I'll grant you that if you pick up the rock and turn it over, it could be like a built-in bowl, but no amount of is gonna stop these from being lava and slugs. Neither of which I want to put in my mouth. Speaking of things that are ridiculous, Ludicolo. What do you mean it's Ludicolo? No. Ludicolo. This next one gets in on a technicality. Now, would this Pokemon be good to eat? No, I don't think so. But I think this Pokemon could be really good if you used it as a spice for a different dish. You grill it up like a nice Tauros flank on the grill, and then you spice it with a Ghastly. Take a Ghastly and you like kind of puree it or whip it maybe, and then reduce it so it becomes just kind of less liquidy and more, because it's Ghastly is a Ghast, but I think if you get it into a liquid form and then reduce it, I think it could make for a good rub or a good spicing of a meat, or maybe like a vegetable dish of some sort. Maybe stir-fried Ghastly. Ooh, that. One of those two things. Now, I wouldn't be a good host if I didn't have something to offer for all of my guests. And of course, I can't leave out the vegetarians and the vegans, or they'd never let me hear the end of it. So, I got a nice 2-courser for you with something to drink. Start off, you get a little Maractus juice. It's the quenchiest, nothing quenchier. That's an easy one though. I don't know if that one even belongs on the cake. That might just be how it goes. But what I think does belong on the cake, if you're a vegetarian, shaman, specifically hedgehog form. I think that's enough plant that it qualifies as vegetarian, but I don't think it qualifies as vegan. So, for them, we've got Executor, the only vegan meat in existence. That's a tree. You cannot argue that it's not a tree. But also, it can move, so it must have muscles, and therefore meat, and therefore plant meat. Literal vegan plant meat. Executor. You're welcome. I've given you a gift this day, and I need naught but a thank you. Snorunt gets here on another technicality. He's not a food, but I think he's wearing a food. I think he's wearing a bugle. You take it off of him, then crunch. One chip. The one chip challenge. Ooh. Second one chip challenge. The challenge is no longer eating the chip, it's acquiring the chip from a Snorunt, and then your reward is getting the chip. Snorunt, the one chip fight. Next on the list is cast form. Now I hear you saying that cast form is mostly water. And you're right about that. But you know what else is mostly water to a similar degree? Celery and watermelon. These are things that we eat. I think cast form could be that same, like, very, very watery, very used for hydration type of produce, almost. And, bonus points, I think its different forms taste different, and are, like, different preparations. Like grilled watermelon is a thing. I've never had it, but I've heard that it's good. So I think sunny cast form would be like grilled watermelon cast form. Another thing I forgot for the vegans, Carnivine. That's a salad bowl. That's an angry salad bowl. But if you kill it, I think it's just a salad bowl with extra steps. It's got all the different pieces. It's got like an actual bowl, and then you flip over the leaves and cook the whole thing a little bit. Or you can just have it as like raw salad with dressing. I don't know. I could see this going multiple ways. You get a little meat in there of some kind. Ooh, or you get like a Tropius banana in there. Have yourself a little fruity, salady type of thing. I wonder what that would be called. Like a fruity salad. Gay salad? Gay salad.
Yummy, yummy.
Similar shape to Carnivine, but very different concept. Trapinch, I think, could be good. If you take the two parts of the mouth, pull it apart, and then get it the like meaty inside, I think that could make for a really nice specialty dish. Sort of like a crawfish or like a shrimp, how you've got the part of it that you don't eat and then the part of it that you do. I feel Trapinch could fit nicely into that niche. as a similar type of creature. All right, it's time for a special category. And these are things that have a fully inedible exterior, but I think if you get it the inside, could be really good. For example, Golem. Now, Golem is mostly rock. And I'm not advocating eating rocks. That doesn't sound like a good thing. But I think you get in there, you like crack it open, and there's some sort of like meaty and or creamy center in there that's delicious. Geodude, this is Geo food. Other things in this, there's something in there category. Tangela, sort of. I think that's like a zucchini noodle spaghetti type of thing. It functions like spaghetti, but it's made of plant, or rather it's made of vegetable specifically, and then it's got a little meatball in there. Spaghetti meatballs comes to you. Now I know we already talked about Executor. There's Execute. Now I know Execute is not actually eggs, but it's seeds. But you know what I think is secretly eggs and has been lying to us this whole time? Magnemite. I think you take Magnemite, it's metal, so you'd have to find a really sturdy bulb, but you grab a Magnemite, take the magnets off. You gotta kind of try because they're magnetic, but you get those off of there, you crack that open, you got a nice little egg right there. I think that's the secret they're keeping from us. The other secret they're keeping from us is Voltorb. Same concept. This is kind of a combination of the one I just said and back to like Quillfish, where it's dangerous because like they like to explode, so you gotta. It's a very delicate crack on this Voltorb. Similar in concept, but different in execution, closer to like a crab, how you gotta crack the crab legs, or maybe a walnut. Steelix. Granted, you'd need like a hydraulic walnut press, but I think Steelix is really tasty. If you can get into the part that's really tasty. Because he's mostly metal, and I feel like he'd be a bitch to eat, but I feel like he'd be a real treat to eat. Similarly, Darmanitan. Either Zen form, I think could be really good. Either like a cold type of, what's that thing? There's something where you cook, or not cook, but no, that's popsicles that you put out in snow. Maybe that still works, I don't know. But the hot one reminds me in concept of, is it kimchi that you bury underground? Whatever the Asian dish that you literally bury underground for a while and then bring it up, that, I feel like Zen Darmanitan, the hot one, not the cold one, could be very much. A lot of this video concept came from me watching Dungeon Meshi, Delicious in Dungeon. The coin bugs, the treasure insects that you have to like carefully dissect and then cook in a specific way, but they're really good. I feel like you could do a very similar thing to Klefki. I think Klefki does not have a huge amount of meat to it and is mostly metal, but I think if you get, like, it's got the part of the face that is a face, and then the ring of, like, metal around it. I think if you take the, like, blade and carve around the face and then, like, I think that could be really, really good. I wasn't expecting to go so into detail of deconstructing these creatures, but here we are. Now, Pokemon is a fantastical world, and I think that can allow for some fantastical flavors that we don't normally get access to. Speaking of, have you ever done that thing where you take a D battery, like a 9-volt, and you put it on your tongue to check if it's still got power in it? If you haven't, you should try that and make absolutely sure that it's a 9-volt or less, because anything above that can be dangerous, and I am neither responsible nor telling you to do that. But if you're absolutely sure it's a 9-volt or less, you can give this a try. You'll get a little jolt. It's not gonna hurt, but it's got a specific feeling to it. I've done this plenty of times, and I think there's no way in the human world to get that taste sensation into a food. There's just not a good way to replicate that. But with Elekid, I think Elekid meets all of our requirements. I think it's got that shot, it's got the 2 prongs, but he's little enough that I don't think he's got enough juice in him to be dangerous. At least once he's been like baked or something. A little baked Elekid, you get that nice like zap. You know what? I bet it tastes like this.
Oh, you gotta taste this!
Another weird, well, no, this is a thing that exists in real life, but I think that Mega Sableye itself is gross, but I think its huge gem could be delicious. Now, let me finish. Hear me out on this. That's the whole, you gotta hear me out. That's the whole thing. I think you need to find a Mega Sableye that is specifically level 14 or lower. Why? Well, it's very simple. Adults like gemstones. Children like rock candy. And I'm not saying to, like, kill and eat children. That's not what I'm getting at. But if you just take the big gemstone away, I think we'll find that if the Sableye is a low enough level, that's not actually a gem, that's rock candy. And you're gonna have as much rock candy as you want for the rest of your life, because boy, is that a big-ass gemstone. Alright, we've made it to the part where I've got some truly weird ones that I could see just fully being wrong about. I think Sigilif tastes great. There's not even really a bit to this one. This is my real hear me out answer. I think that if you prepared this thing correctly, it would be delicious. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I feel like this fits into the it tastes like chicken category, similar to apparently crocodile. I think it's got something special in it that'll make it really tasty, but also very difficult to prepare because, you know, it patrols the same path and it never leaves, yada yada. I think it has the potential to be really, really good, but you have to really work for it. Similarly, this might be my hottest take. I think Trubbish could be really tasty. Let me finish. I know. The things that we know about Trubbish are that it likes, gathers, and eats trash, but not that it in and of itself is trash. We also know that if it breathes on you, you're gonna sleep for a week. Here's my source. And I think that this could be a special type of delicacy if you prepare it in a very specific way that probably requires a hazmat suit. First off, you gotta peel away all the trash. Second off, once all of the trash is gone, whatever you've got left, if you remove the organ that's making that gas that knocks your ass out and sends you to the hospital, and then prepare it in a very specific way, maybe you have to steam it. Maybe Trubbish dumplings is the way to go. I'm not sure. In the same way that turkey has the tryptophan thing, so after Thanksgiving, everybody passes the fuck out because they've just had a huge meal full of the chemical that puts you to sleep. No, I don't care that that's sort of a myth. I feel like this fits a similar role. If you just absolutely need a good night's sleep, and you also want a rare delicacy, a special type of meal, you cook yourself up some Trubbish dumplings, and then you have those, and then you're just out. And you're having the best sleep and the weirdest dreams of your entire life. I feel like it could be really good, but you'd have to have a master chef or someone who's done this lots. Speaking of masterful cooking, you can't have a good meal without a good place to put it. And so this one only technically counts, but Clang. I think the back plate of Clang would make for an excellent plate. Litwick looks like a marshmallow. I want to put the flame out and put him in my mouth. I want to eat Litwick. Another one that I just don't really have a great argument for, but I just want to eat, Sylveon. Just so there's less of them in the world. I think Goomy is delicious. I don't know what it is. I feel like this one I would be the most wrong about if I were to actually try it, which, you know, I would consider trying it. But I feel like Goomy, for some reason, some almost indescribable reason, is delicious. I think if you steam that up in the right way, I think you just end up with a natural, like, pork bun type of thing. But one where I feel like he's got the consistency of dough, but the taste of the pork in a pork bun, or whatever the meat is. I feel like you could do something really special with Goomy. And I don't know what it is, really, beyond what I've said already. There's just some instinct that's like, your food. I'm gonna eat you. Pharaohseed.
How are you doing that?
Oh, have you never before supped upon pinted cone?
Did you know that space tastes like raspberries? It's because of this chemical. Obviously, there's a rumor no one's tasted space because that would kill you. But apparently space tastes like raspberries. And you know what looks like raspberries and is space? The little puffs on Cosmog. That's just raspberry. You just pop those off and you've got yourself a nice little raspberry. These next two are a mix of actually wanting to eat them and a bit of like wish fulfillment. Tyrantrum. Imagine saying that you ate a T-Rex and that being true. This one's not really a hear me out in like, it seems bad but would actually be good. This is just, hear me out, I want to eat a T-Rex. And speaking of ancient things that are no longer really an option, but that I think could be really good, I think Arctovish is delicious. I think that's just the next big fish trend waiting to happen. I think it's really good, and I think we missed out on it because they're all dead, And now, because of the fossil machine, they're back and we can try it and it's gonna be great. I've been doing a lot of, this fits multiple roles. This is this and this together. And I think nothing excels at that more than Florgus. I don't know how you say their name, but that seems to me like salad and meat together. Either a 2-course meal or like a Caesar salad or a chicken salad, depending on how you prepare it. I think that could be really good. I think it could take care of a lot of nutritional needs all at once. If you get over the fact that it kind of looks like a woman, I think it has the potential to be really good. I'm realizing a lot of these are gonna be the like, close your nose and take a bite and then realize that it's fucking great. Speaking of things that sound weird and gross but could be good, I think Delmise, no, listen, let me finish. We're not putting an anchor in our mouth. I think the seaweed part of Delmise could make for some really good like dried seaweed sushi wraps, or if you're into just eating seaweed on its own. I mean, it is just seaweed on an anchor, but I think it being around to go. I don't know why, this is kind of leaning back into Ghastly from earlier, but I feel like just ghostly essence makes for a killer spice. And so I think like a nice, I don't know enough about sushi to name a specific spicy roll. Now that I've said that, I feel like spicy roll is just a thing on its own. Anyway, I think if you get Delmise seaweed, you get a killer spice, and it could make for some excellent sushi. Over across the pond, there's nothing they love more than a cuppa. I think that Sinisty could be a lovely cuppa if you just remember to stir. You just stir it up so it's not a ghost that's gonna possess you, and I think it goes down smooth. Speaking of going down smooth, did you know that, this is a crazy transition, tarantulas and tarantula eggs, don't show a picture, are delicacies over in, I think this is Asian culture. It might be African culture, I'm not sure. Somewhere in that part of the world, this is a real thing. And as such, if you can get past the fact that you're eating spiders, which I personally can't, but clearly plenty of people can, I think tarantula could be a really good like spaghetti with meatballs on its own. You throw in a little small olive oil and you're golden. Maybe a little salt, a little knackly salt in there, and maybe a nice cherry sauce. You go for the sweet sauce instead of the normal like tomatoey, marinara-y type sauce. Anyway, I think you got yourself a bangin' meal there, a bangin' Paldean meal. Speaking of things from Paldea that seem weird, but I feel like could be good, I think you could just pop gimme ghouls like gummy bears. Obviously, you'd need the type that doesn't have a treasure chest around it, and you'd need to take the coin away from it. But I think you could just pop gimme ghouls like gummy bears, and I think they're a little bit chewy and a little bit like savory. I think it'd be like a savory gummy bear. I think it'd be really good. Wishy-washy, specifically in school formation. This is another like Tyrantrum type one. I think school formation wishy-washy, there's something different. When they get into school formation, something changes about them and they become delicious. I think it's got something to do with like the stress, because really stressed out animals make for like a tense meat and a chewy and not good meat. So I think a wishy-washy that's been in school form, or rather a school form wishy-washy, is great. And I think a regular wishy-washy is terrible. Pecharunt. He makes the mochi, and it's poisoned, but he's poisoning it on purpose. I think the mochi is really good even though it's poisonous, but that's not what I'm getting at. I do think that Pecharunt himself would be kind of delicious and kind of mochi-esque, on the condition that you remove his enormous eyebrows, and probably the headband as well. Hot fish, get in my mouth. 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 Toucanon. Now this one's gonna take a little bit of explaining and might get a little dark, so brace yourself for that. I think that Toucanon, the way it's got blast beak, burn beak, what's that move called? It's got this move. It's the 2 turns setup and launch. I think that if you were to get a toucanon to use that move and then clamp its mouth shut, similar to this, I think you could get a toucanon to flash cook itself, and then I think it would be really delicious. I don't know what toucan tastes like, obviously. Has anyone ever eaten a toucan? I mean, surely someone has. I don't know what toucan tastes like, but I bet if you manage to get a toucanon to blast beak itself, I think that would be great. I think that could be really good. And finally, I've got to go out on a wild limb here. I got to go with one more huge swing for the fences. I think Bramblin could be really good. And I love Bramblin, and it makes me sad to say that I kind of want to eat him, but I think Bramblin could be really, really good. I think if you just snap off each of the little things, you get like a little basket of probably pretzel-y in texture, and maybe it's like celery sticks in consistency, or maybe it's just, you're just there for the crunch. You dip them in peanut butter and then you get a nice crunch. Oh yeah. Are there any Pokemon that I missed? Any that you are just itching to eat? Anything that really seems like it would be good going down from the Pokemon world? Any that I didn't think of? Well, leave a comment. While you're leaving a comment, check out the Discord. That's where you can come yell at me for real. Speaking of which, Gravity Falls is back. The bet is back. The watch parties are back. If you're seeing this, you've missed the third one, but you could be there for the fourth one. I don't know. I don't know when that video is coming out, but I hope you'll join us there. Big thanks to patrons like Malayik and anyone else. You could also get your name said. You could be the one. Well, the two. She's the one. But you could be the two. And if you do become the two, or another one of the just written ones, well, then you get to see all sorts of stuff. We've got extended cuts, alternate cuts. There's an alternate cut of this video live right now. Go check that out. I often ask people there for help with videos, or like suggestions on what you want to see. So it's a good way to communicate with me on that. I also live tweet when my friends are torturing me sometimes on there. So that's fun. Come hang out and get more content that you didn't get anywhere else. Well, in making this video, I did have to promise Creamtown that he'd get to try a bite of me. So, we're gonna go do that. Goodbye, everyone.